Update on the fish room? Okay. Whoa, I'm dizzy now. As you can see, all of the sheetrock is in. Our first coat of mud went up and got sanded. Now the second coat of mud is up, the pink. As you can see, it's got a pink tint to it. The pink coat is up, except for by the door out at the front there. Still need to mud that for a second coat. Then I'm gonna sand it. And I will probably go through and do some touch-ups on a third coat. Because I do want these walls to be just a smooth finish. We're not doing any texture on these walls. So the trade-off there is, yeah, you don't have to do texture, but you actually have to do some additional mudding and sanding. Make sure that everything's nice and smooth before you go ahead and throw your primer on. Right now we need to mix up our mud, our topping mud. For the original joints with the tape and the paper and everything, I use all-purpose, basic, off-the-shelf, a bucket. Always buy a bucket. It's a couple extra dollars. Trust me, buy a bucket to start out with, because in order to do drywall, you're gonna need like 3 buckets, realistically, right? You're gonna need a bucket full of water, you're gonna need a bucket full of mud, and then eventually you're gonna need a bucket full of topping compound, right? So topping is a little bit different than the all-purpose, and the reason, the basic explanation I can give you there is that it's lighter and it doesn't shrink as much. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're having cracks in your drywall mud and stuff, it's probably because you're using all-purpose as opposed to something like topping that isn't going to shrink as much. It will shrink and it will crack. If that's the case, sand it, put another coat in the cracks. If the cracks are really wide, big, thick, wide cracks, then go ahead and scrape them out and start over. Trust me when I say scraping them out and starting them over is going to save you a lot of headaches in the long run. But either way, we're going to take this out of the box. We're going to put it into our joint bucket. As you can see, this bucket's been through a lot. The lid is kind of crazy, but the buckets will last a long time, so you might as well save them. And then later on, if you want to use them for other things, like in a fish room or whatnot, you can actually clean these out, wash them, they're good to go. Everybody needs extra buckets, right? Topping, on the other hand, I buy in a box, as you can see. Take it out the bag, put it in the bucket, mix it up with your drill, get your food coloring right here, and mix it in. It's pretty simple. There we go. Yellow topping. I mean, it's not gonna look like frosting, but it's the consistency. That's what you're looking for, right? Smooth, consistent, a little extra water. Scrape your sides. Drop it down. And there you go. Bucket of topping.